Where did you grow up?
I grew up in West Plains, Missouri, which is a small town in the center of the Ozarks.
What was your childhood like?
My parents were fairly strict. I was raised on the farm. I had a lot of responsibilities. Had to take care of the animals, had to milk the cows, had to feed the animals, make sure they had plenty of water. Of course, you have to cut wood, you have to fix the fence. Lots and lots of work.
What was your favorite memory of childhood?
Well, early childhood, probably fishing. I used to be able to take my bicycle. There were several ponds, farm ponds, within riding distance of where I lived, and I could take my fishing tackle and my bicycle, and I could go from pond to pond and fish all day long. Later, in my teenage years, probably getting to play ball, baseball, softball, all the time. Probably played well over 100 games in a summer, and then of course playing baseball in high school. That was probably what I enjoyed the most.
Did you enjoy school?
I did. I thought school was a lot of fun, but school came pretty easy for me. I didn't really have to struggle with any of my curriculum, so I think that made it a little more enjoyable.
What kind of student were you?
A cut up and an athlete. I would do anything and everything to make people laugh. Anything outrageous I could think of to make people laugh, I would do. And an athlete. I played all the sports I could possibly play.
Like what?
Early elementary years, I played a little bit of football, baseball. In high school, baseball and basketball. Small school I went to, that's all there was. There wasn't any football or soccer or anything.
What did you think you were going to be when you grew up?
Well, I thought I was going to be an architect until I found out while I was in college that architects were essentially glorified artists and really weren't that concerned with how things got built. They were a lot more concerned with the way things looked and how they quote unquote felt and the artistry of building instead of how it got built and what you used to build them and what it took structurally to make it stand up. And that disillusioned me a little bit. That made me not want to be an architect anymore.
So what do you do for a living now?
Well, ironically, I work for a lumberyard. I work in Contractor Sales, calling on the builders. I get to help them with their buildings. I get to help them, actually, sometimes I get to help them design their buildings so that they can pass codes and meet their structural requirements. And I get to figure how buildings are built and make material lists and estimates and visit job sites and vast amount of buildings and very wide variety of buildings virtually every day. In a way, I stayed in the architectural field. I just didn't become an architect.
And how'd you get into that line of work?
Through my father. My father has worked for this same chain of lumberyards since about 62 or 3. He was the yard foreman when I turned, the summer after I turned 16, he took me to work with him. And I got to work that summer, and then in the winters, I worked part-time in the winters and full-time in the summers, and all the way through high school and college. And then when I graduated college, they asked me to stay and work for them. So I did. I've worked for that company for 31 years.
What are the most important lessons you've learned in your life?
Hard work and honesty. I'll take the second one first. It's very important to be honest. Even if you think that people don't want to hear the truth, they still need to hear it. Honesty is very important. If you make a mistake, own up to the mistake. Do your best to fix it. And hard work. Now, hard work means also responsibility. Don't take shortcuts. Don't think things are good enough, because good enough is never good enough. Always do things to the best of your ability. Take things the extra step. Work hard. Be responsible. And I think those are very good life lessons. I have this child that somehow became a lot like me. Don't know how it happened. some ways I'm very glad that it happened. And in some ways it has been a curse that she took after me. And I'd like to think that she took some of the lessons that I've tried to teach her to heart, and that she will emanate the good things. But I've also noticed that she took some of the bad things as well from my personality. A while ago when I started talking about honesty, sometimes honesty can be a curse as well. People don't like to hear the truth, especially the brutally honest truth. And she and I both have this tendency to blurt it out without a filter. And sometimes people don't like that. But
Oh, well.
it can be very entertaining.